Humans were never meant to live like this. Right now, as you watch this, your body is screaming, your brain is literally shrinking, your DNA is aging faster than it should, and you don't even know it's happening. In the next 90 minutes, I'm going to show you the dark truth nobody talks about, because if they did, the entire system would collapse. Stay until the end. What I reveal later will change everything you thought you knew about your own body. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Not scrolling through dopamine alive, not weekend freedom alive, but actually alive. The kind of alive where every cell in your body hums with energy, where your mind is sharp, clear, focused, where you fall asleep within minutes and wake up without an alarm, ready to conquer the day. If you can't remember the last time you felt like that, there's a reason, and it's not your fault. You see, right now, you're living in a body that was designed 200,000 years ago. A body built by evolution over millions of years. A masterpiece of biological engineering that allowed your ancestors to survive ice ages, predators, starvation, and every threat nature could throw at them. But here's the problem. That same body, that incredible machine, is now trapped in a world it doesn't recognize, a world it was never designed for, and it's breaking down. Think about it. Your ancestors woke up with the sun. You wake up to a blaring alarm after staring at a blue screen until midnight. Your ancestors walked 10 to 15 miles every single day. You're lucky if you hit 5,000 steps. Your ancestors ate when they were hungry, fasted when food was scarce, and consumed foods that came directly from the earth. You eat 3 meals a day plus snacks, most of it processed, packaged, and loaded with chemicals that didn't exist 50 years ago. Your ancestors lived in tight-knit tribes of 30 to 50 people. People they trusted with their lives. You have 500 friends on social media and feel completely alone. Every single system in your body, every organ, every cell, every chemical reaction happening inside you right now was optimized for a life you're not living. And the gap between what your body expects and what you're giving it, that gap is killing you. Slowly, quietly, systematically. But here's what they don't tell you. Here's the part that will make you angry. The people in power know this. The corporations know this. The food industry knows this. Big Pharma knows this. And they're counting on you not figuring it out. Because the sicker you get, the more money they make. The more disconnected you feel, the more you consume. The more exhausted you are, the less you question. It's not a conspiracy. It's just business. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Let's start with something simple. Something you do every single day without thinking about it. Sitting. Right now, you're probably sitting down watching this. And that seems normal, right? Harmless. But here's the truth. Your body was never designed to sit. Not for hours. Not every day. Not the way you do it now. Your ancestors didn't have chairs. They squatted. They knelt. They sat cross-legged on the ground. They moved constantly. Their hip flexors were flexible. Their spines were strong. Their core muscles were engaged all day long. But you sit in a car. You sit at a desk. You sit for lunch. You sit in meetings. You come home and sit on the couch. Then you sit in bed scrolling your phone. The average person now sits for 13 hours a day. 13 hours. Do you know what that does to your body? Your hip flexors tighten and pull your pelvis forward. Your lower back compensates and starts to curve unnaturally. Your shoulders roll forward. Your neck juts out. Your core muscles atrophy because they're not being used. Your glutes, the largest muscle group in your body, literally forget how to activate. Doctors call it gluteal amnesia. Your ass is asleep. And it gets worse. When you sit, your body goes into hibernation mode. Your metabolism slows down. Your cells stop responding to insulin properly. Your blood sugar spikes. Fat starts accumulating around your organs. Your cardiovascular system weakens. Studies show that sitting for more than 6 hours a day increases your risk of early death by 40%. 40%, even if you exercise, even if you go to the gym. Because 1 hour of exercise can't undo 13 hours of sitting. It's like smoking a pack of cigarettes and thinking a green smoothie will fix it. But it's not just your muscles and your metabolism, it's your brain. When you sit still for long periods, blood flow to your brain decreases, less oxygen, less nutrients. Your cognitive function drops, your creativity tanks, your memory weakens. There's a reason all the great philosophers walked while they thought. Aristotle taught while walking. Nietzsche wrote, "All truly great thoughts are conceived while walking." Your brain works better when your body moves, but you've been sold a lie. You've been told that productivity means sitting at a desk for 8 hours. That focus means staying still. That success means sacrificing your body for your career. And speaking of your career, let's talk about the second way your body is being destroyed. The 9 to 5, the 40-hour work week, the concept of a job. Now, before you think I'm being dramatic, hear me out. Your ancestors didn't have jobs. They didn't work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, doing the same repetitive task over and over. That's a modern invention. It was literally designed for factory workers during the Industrial Revolution. Before that, humans worked in bursts. Hunter-gatherers would hunt for a few hours, intensely focused, then rest. They'd gather food, prepare it, eat, socialize, play, sleep. Their work was varied, physical, meaningful. They could see the direct result of their efforts. They hunted, and their family ate. They built a shelter, and they stayed dry. Cause and effect, immediate feedback, purpose. But now, you wake up, commute to a building, sit in a fluorescent-lit box, stare at a screen, perform tasks that feel completely disconnected from survival or purpose, get a paycheck that disappears into rent and bills, and repeat, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, for 40 years. And your brain is screaming, "Why am I doing this? What's the point?" But you ignore it, you push through. You drink coffee to wake up, alcohol to wind down, and sleeping pills to actually sleep. You medicate the symptoms instead of addressing the cause. And here's the kicker. Your body interprets this as a threat, chronic stress, because in the natural world, stress is supposed to be acute. A lion chases you, your cortisol spikes. Your heart races, you run, you escape. The threat is gone, your body returns to baseline. But modern stress, it never ends. The emails keep coming, the deadlines keep piling up. The bills keep arriving, your boss keeps demanding more, and your body stays in fight or flight mode, permanently. Elevated cortisol levels wreak havoc on your system. It suppresses your immune system. It increases inflammation. It disrupts your sleep. It triggers anxiety and depression. It makes you store fat around your belly. It ruins your gut health. It accelerates aging. Chronic stress literally shortens your telomeres, the protective caps on your DNA that determine how long you live. You're aging faster because your body thinks you're in constant danger. But let's go deeper. Let's talk about sleep, because this might be the most criminal thing we've done to ourselves. Your ancestors slept when it got dark and woke when the sun rose. They slept for 9, 10, sometimes 11 hours a night, depending on the season. Their sleep was deep, restorative, uninterrupted. Their circadian rhythm was perfectly synced with the natural light-dark cycle, and their bodies thrived. But you're lucky if you get 6 hours. You stay up late binge-watching shows, scrolling social media, answering emails. You stare at screens that blast blue light directly into your eyes, tricking your brain into thinking it's still daytime. Your pineal gland, which is supposed to release melatonin and make you sleepy, gets confused. Your circadian rhythm gets destroyed, and even when you finally do go to bed, your sleep is shallow, fragmented, interrupted by notifications, anxiety, and a brain that won't shut off. And the consequences are catastrophic. Sleep deprivation impairs your cognitive function as much as being drunk. It destroys your memory consolidation. It weakens your immune system. It increases your risk of Alzheimer's, diabetes, obesity, heart disease, and cancer. After just one night of poor sleep, your body's ability to regulate blood sugar drops by 30%. One night. Imagine what years of terrible sleep are doing to you. But here's what really makes me angry. We know this. The science is clear. Sleep is non-negotiable for health, but society punishes you for prioritizing it. You're told that sleep is for the weak, that successful people wake up at 5 a.m., that hustle culture means sacrificing rest, that if you're not exhausted, you're not working hard enough. It's insane. You're literally being told to destroy your body for productivity, and you're doing it. Now let's talk about food, because this is where things get really dark. Your ancestors ate meat, fish, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, foods they hunted or gathered, whole foods. Real foods, foods that were nutrient-dense and kept them satiated for hours. They didn't snack, they didn't eat every 3 hours. Sometimes they fasted for days when food was scarce. And their bodies adapted, they became metabolically flexible. They could burn fat for energy when glucose wasn't available. They were lean, strong, and healthy. But you eat foods that didn't exist 100 years ago. Foods engineered in labs to be hyper-palatable, to override your body's natural satiety signals, to make you crave more. Sugar, seed oils, artificial flavors, preservatives, emulsifiers, chemicals your body doesn't recognize, and your brain lights up like a Christmas tree. Dopamine floods your system. You feel good for a moment, then you crash, and you crave more. The food industry has hacked your biology. They've figured out the exact combination of sugar, salt, and fat that triggers maximum pleasure with minimum nutrition, and they're pumping it into everything. Your bread has sugar, your yogurt has more sugar than ice cream, your salad dressing has seed oils, your healthy granola bar is a candy bar in disguise. You think you're making good choices, but you're being manipulated. And the result? 73% of Americans are overweight or obese. 73%. 1 in 10 has diabetes. 1 in 2 will develop cancer in their lifetime. Heart disease is the leading cause of death. And it's not because people lack willpower. It's because your environment is toxic. Your food is toxic. And your body is desperately trying to survive in a world it doesn't understand. But it gets worse. Let's talk about light. Your ancestors lived by the sun. Bright, full-spectrum light during the day, complete darkness at night. Their eyes absorbed natural light, which regulated their hormones, their mood, their energy, their sleep. Sunlight triggered the production of serotonin, making them feel happy and alert. Darkness triggered melatonin, making them sleepy. Simple, natural, effective. But you wake up in a dark room. You get in a car or a train with tinted windows. You arrive at an office with fluorescent lights that flicker at 60 hertz, giving you headaches and eye strain. You sit inside all day, barely seeing the sun. Then you come home, flip on LED lights, and stare at screens until bedtime. Your eyes are being bombarded with artificial light that confuses every system in your body. And it's not just about sleep. Lack of natural sunlight is destroying your health. Vitamin D deficiency is rampant. 80% of people don't get enough. And vitamin D isn't just a vitamin. It's a hormone that regulates over 2,000 genes in your body. It's essential for immune function, bone health, mood regulation, and disease prevention. But you're inside, all day, every day, and you're getting sicker. Studies show that people who spend more time outdoors have lower rates of depression, anxiety, ADHD, and chronic disease. Children who play outside have better vision, better focus, and better immune systems. But we've built a world that keeps us indoors. We've created buildings with windows that don't open. Offices with no access to natural light. Cities with barely any green space. And we wonder why everyone is miserable. Let me tell you something that will blow your mind. Your eyes aren't just for seeing. They're directly connected to your brain's master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This tiny cluster of cells regulates your entire circadian rhythm, and it's controlled by light. When you see bright light in the morning, it signals to your body, it's daytime, wake up, produce cortisol, be alert. When you see darkness at night, it signals, it's nighttime, wind down, produce melatonin, sleep. But when you see bright light at midnight from your phone, your brain gets confused, your hormones get dysregulated, your sleep gets destroyed, and your health spirals. Now, let's talk about something even more fundamental: movement. Your ancestors moved all day, walking, running, climbing, lifting, carrying, squatting, jumping. Their bodies were strong, mobile, and resilient. They didn't need gyms, they didn't need workout programs. Movement was life, and their bodies reflected that. But you? You move less than any human in history. You don't hunt, you don't gather, you don't build, you don't carry water from a well or chop wood for fire. Everything is convenient. Everything is automated. You can live your entire life without moving more than from your bed, to your car, to your desk, to your couch, and your body is atrophying. Your bones are getting weaker. Osteoporosis rates are skyrocketing. Your muscles are shrinking. Sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass, used to be a problem for the elderly. Now it's affecting people in their 30s and 40s. Your joints are stiff. Your fascia is tight. Your range of motion is pathetic. Most adults can't even squat all the way down without falling over. A movement that toddlers do naturally. A movement humans did for hundreds of thousands of years. And you've lost it. But here's the part that should terrify you. Your body is adaptive. It responds to the demands you place on it. If you lift heavy things, your muscles grow. If you run, your cardiovascular system strengthens. If you stretch, your flexibility improves. But if you do nothing, your body assumes you don't need those capabilities anymore. So it gets rid of them. Use it or lose it, and you're losing it. And it's not just physical, it's mental. Movement is essential for brain health. Exercise increases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is like fertilizer for your brain cells. It promotes neurogenesis, the creation of new neurons. It improves memory, focus, and mood. People who exercise regularly have a significantly lower risk of dementia, Alzheimer's, and cognitive decline. But you're sedentary, and your brain is suffering. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: social connection. Your ancestors lived in tribes, small, close-knit groups where everyone knew each other, where trust was built over years, where people relied on each other for survival. They hunted together, ate together, raised children together, celebrated together, mourned together. They were never alone, and their brains were wired for that level of connection. But you live in a world of superficial interactions. You have hundreds of friends online but no one to call at 3 a.m. when you're falling apart. You swipe through dating apps looking for connection but feel more isolated than ever. You work in open offices surrounded by people but feel completely alone. You live in apartment buildings with neighbors you've never spoken to, and your brain is starving. Loneliness isn't just an emotional problem, it's a physical one. Studies show that chronic loneliness is as harmful to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It increases inflammation. It weakens your immune system. It raises your risk of heart disease, stroke, and dementia. It shortens your lifespan. Human beings are social animals. We need connection to survive, and modern life has ripped that away from us. Think about this. For most of human history, being alone meant death. If you were separated from your tribe, you were vulnerable. No one to watch your back. No one to share food. No one to help if you got injured. So your brain evolved to experience loneliness as a painful, distressing signal. A warning that says, you're in danger, reconnect, now. But in the modern world, that signal is firing constantly, and there's no tribe to return to. So you're stuck in a perpetual state of social threat, and it's destroying you. And let's talk about what you've replaced real connection with. Social media. The greatest trick ever pulled. You're told it connects you. that it keeps you close to friends and family. But the truth? It does the opposite. Every minute you spend scrolling is a minute you're not having a real conversation, not making eye contact, not experiencing the warmth of human presence. You're staring at a curated highlight reel of everyone else's life, feeling inadequate, anxious, and alone. And your brain knows the difference. When you interact with someone face to face, your brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It calms you, it makes you feel safe. It reduces stress. But when you interact online, nothing. No oxytocin, no real connection, just a shallow, hollow imitation. It's junk food for your soul, and you're binging on it. But here's where it gets sinister. Social media companies know this. They've hired neuroscientists and psychologists to design these platforms to be as addictive as possible. Infinite scroll. Variable rewards, notifications, likes, comments. Every feature is engineered to hijack your dopamine system and keep you hooked. Because the longer you're on the platform, the more ads they can show you, the more data they can collect, the more money they make. You're not the customer, you're the product. And your attention, your mental health, your well-being, it's being sold to the highest bidder. Let's pivot to something even more primal. Stress. Not the chronic, low-grade stress of modern life, but acute, physical stress. Your ancestors faced real threats, predators, rival tribes, natural disasters, and their bodies were designed to handle it. The fight-or-flight response. Adrenaline surges, heart rate spikes, muscles flood with blood. They fought, or they ran, and then it was over. The threat passed. Their nervous system returned to rest and digest mode, and they recovered. But you don't face physical threats. You face psychological ones. An angry email from your boss, a passive-aggressive text, a bill you can't pay, traffic, deadlines, comparison on social media, and your body can't tell the difference. It responds the same way. Adrenaline, cortisol, elevated heart rate, muscle tension, except there's nothing to fight, nothing to run from. So all that energy just sits inside you, festering, building, damaging. And here's the problem. Your ancestors had natural outlets for stress. After a hunt, they'd return to camp exhausted. They'd eat, they'd rest. They'd connect with their tribe around a fire. They'd laugh, they'd tell stories. Their nervous system would calm. But you finish a stressful day and sit on the couch watching Netflix, or scroll your phone, or drink alcohol. None of those things actually discharge the stress. They just numb you, so the stress stays in your body, accumulating, year after year, until it manifests as disease. This is why practices like breathwork, cold exposure, and intense exercise are becoming so popular, because they give your body what it's craving. A chance to experience acute stress and then recover. A chance to activate your fight or flight response intentionally and then return to calm. It's not a trend, it's a biological need. Your body is desperate for it. Now let's talk about something that might make you uncomfortable. Purpose, meaning. Your ancestors didn't wonder why they existed. They knew. Their purpose was clear. Survive. Provide for their family. Contribute to their tribe. Pass on their knowledge. Every action had meaning. Every day had purpose. And their brains thrived on that clarity. But you're told to find your passion. Follow your dreams. Make a difference. But what does that even mean? You're working a job you don't care about, to pay for things you don't need, to impress people you don't like. You're chasing promotions, raises, titles, status, but none of it feels meaningful. Because it isn't. It's arbitrary. It's invented. And deep down, your brain knows it. This lack of purpose is soul-crushing, literally. Studies show that people who report having a sense of purpose live longer, have better mental health, and are more resilient to stress. But people without purpose, they're more likely to suffer from depression, anxiety, addiction, and early death. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote that the primary drive of human beings isn't pleasure, it's meaning. And when you don't have it, you suffer. But modern society has stripped meaning from almost everything. Your food comes from factories, not your own hands. Your shelter is rented, not built. Your clothes are mass-produced, not made. Your entertainment is passive, not created. You consume, you don't create. You watch, you don't participate, and you feel empty. Let's go even deeper. Let's talk about your senses. Your ancestors experienced the world in full spectrum. The smell of rain, the feel of wind, the sound of birds, the taste of fresh game, the sight of a star-filled sky. Their senses were alive, engaged, constantly stimulated by the natural world, and their brains were wired to process all of that information. But you live in a sensory wasteland. Everything smells like air freshener or nothing at all. Everything feels like plastic or glass. Everything sounds like traffic or the hum of electronics. Everything tastes like processed food with artificial flavors. And you rarely see the sky, let alone the stars. Your senses are dulled, understimulated, bored. And this matters more than you think. Sensory deprivation is a form of torture, because your brain needs input. It needs variety. It needs richness. When you deprive it of that, it starts to malfunction. You become irritable, anxious, depressed. You crave stimulation, so you turn to your phone, to social media, to porn, to video games, to anything that will give your brain a hit of novelty. But it's empty calories. It doesn't satisfy. So you keep consuming, keep searching, keep scrolling, and you never feel full. Here's something that will shock you. Your gut. Your ancestors had incredibly diverse gut microbiomes. They ate hundreds of different plant species. They were exposed to dirt, animals, and environments teeming with bacteria. And their guts were colonized by trillions of beneficial microbes that helped them digest food, produce vitamins, regulate their immune system, and even influence their mood and behavior. But your gut microbiome is decimated. You eat maybe 20 different foods, most of them processed. You live in a sterile environment. You sanitize everything. You take antibiotics at the first sign of infection, wiping out entire colonies of bacteria, good and bad, and your gut is suffering. You have less diversity, less resilience, and more inflammation. And the consequences are staggering. Your gut and your brain are connected by the vagus nerve. They communicate constantly. 90% of your serotonin, the neurotransmitter that regulates mood, is produced in your gut. When your gut is unhealthy, your brain is unhealthy. This is why gut issues are linked to depression, anxiety, ADHD, and even autism. Your gut is your second brain, and you've been poisoning it for decades. Let me tell you about something called the hygiene hypothesis. It suggests that our obsession with cleanliness and sterility is actually making us sicker. Because your immune system evolved to be trained by exposure to microbes. When you're a child, playing in dirt, getting scraped knees, being around animals, your immune system learns what's dangerous and what's not. It develops tolerance. It becomes balanced. But modern children grow up in bubbles, hand sanitizer, antibacterial soap, no pets, no dirt, and their immune systems never get trained, so they become hyper-reactive. They start attacking harmless things like pollen, peanuts, and gluten, allergies, asthma, autoimmune diseases, all skyrocketing, because we've removed our bodies from the environment they evolved in. Now let's talk about something controversial: comfort. Your ancestors were never comfortable, not the way you are. They dealt with heat, cold, hunger, thirst, exhaustion, pain. Their bodies adapted. They became resilient, strong, anti-fragile. The more stress they endured, the tougher they became. But you live in climate-controlled environments. You're never too hot or too cold. You have unlimited food, unlimited water, unlimited entertainment. You never have to struggle. You never have to push your limits. And your body is becoming weak, fragile, dependent. There's a concept in biology called hormesis. It's the idea that small doses of stress actually make you stronger. Cold exposure strengthens your immune system and improves your mood. Heat exposure, like a sauna, triggers heat shock proteins that repair damaged cells. Fasting triggers autophagy, where your body cleans out old, damaged cells and regenerates new ones. Exercise tears down muscle fibers so they grow back stronger. But you avoid all of that. You seek comfort, ease, convenience, and you're getting weaker. Your immune system is fragile. Your mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells, are sluggish. Your body has forgotten how to adapt, and when real stress comes, when real challenges arise, you crumble. Let's talk about something that might make you angry. You've been lied to about health. The medical system isn't designed to make you healthy. It's designed to manage disease. To keep you sick enough that you need medications, treatments, and interventions, but alive enough to keep paying. That's not a conspiracy. That's a business model. Think about it. Doctors don't get paid when you're healthy. Pharmaceutical companies don't make money when you're healthy. Hospitals don't make money when you're healthy. The entire system profits from your suffering, and it's working. Healthcare costs are skyrocketing. Chronic disease is rampant, and people are sicker than ever. But here's the truth. Most chronic diseases are preventable. Heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, hypertension, most cancers, they're lifestyle diseases caused by the way you eat, move, sleep, and live. But instead of addressing the root cause, the system gives you a pill, statins for cholesterol, metformin for diabetes, blood pressure medication, antidepressants, and you take them for the rest of your life, treating symptoms, never curing the disease. And here's the worst part. Those medications have side effects, so you take more medications to manage the side effects. And those have side effects, so you take more. It's a vicious cycle, and you're trapped in it. Meanwhile, nobody tells you that if you just changed your diet, started moving, fixed your sleep, and reduced your stress, most of those conditions would reverse, because there's no money in that. Let me give you an example. Type 2 diabetes. It's called a chronic, progressive disease. You're told you'll have it for life, that you'll need medications, maybe insulin, maybe even amputations. But that's a lie. Type 2 diabetes is reversible. Studies prove it. People who adopt low-carb diets, lose weight, and exercise can completely reverse their diabetes. No medications, no insulin, but doctors don't tell you that, because there's no profit in you being cured. Now, let's talk about something even darker. Your attention, your ability to focus. Your ancestors could track an animal for hours, days. They could sit perfectly still waiting for the right moment to strike. They could listen to the sounds of the forest and detect danger. Their attention was sharp, focused, undivided. But you? Your attention span is destroyed. The average person now focuses for 8 seconds before getting distracted. 8 seconds. That's less than a goldfish. You can't read a book without checking your phone. You can't watch a movie without scrolling. You can't have a conversation without thinking about what you're going to say next. Your mind is fragmented, scattered, and it's not your fault. Your environment is designed to distract you. Notifications, alerts, emails, messages, ads, every app, every website, every platform is competing for your attention. And they're winning. Because your brain wasn't designed to resist this level of stimulation. It's like putting a rat in a cage with a lever that dispenses cocaine. The rat will press that lever until it dies, and you're pressing the lever. But here's what they don't tell you. Your attention is the most valuable resource you have. It's more valuable than money, more valuable than time. Because where your attention goes, your life follows. If you spend your attention on junk, your life becomes junk. If you spend it on things that matter, your life becomes meaningful. But right now, your attention is being stolen, sold, exploited, and you're letting it happen. Let me tell you what happens when you reclaim your attention. When you delete the apps, Turn off the notifications. Create boundaries. Your brain starts to heal. Your focus returns. Your creativity explodes. You start to think deeply again. You start to feel again. You remember what it's like to be present, to be alive. It's like waking up from a coma. Let's talk about breathing. Yes, breathing. Something so fundamental you don't even think about it. Your ancestors breathed through their noses, deep, diaphragmatic breaths. Their respiratory systems were strong. Their oxygen intake was optimal. Their carbon dioxide tolerance was high. They could hold their breath for minutes if needed. Their breathing was calm, controlled, efficient. But you're a mouth breather, shallow chest breathing. Your diaphragm barely moves. You're chronically overbreathing, taking in too much oxygen too quickly, which actually reduces oxygen delivery to your tissues. It's called the Bohr effect. The more you hyperventilate, the less oxygen your cells receive. You're constantly in a state of respiratory dysfunction, and it's affecting everything. Mouth breathing changes the structure of your face. It narrows your airway. It increases your risk of sleep apnea. It dries out your mouth, leading to cavities and gum disease. It triggers your sympathetic nervous system, keeping you in a state of stress. Nose breathing, on the other hand, filters the air, warms it, humidifies it, produces nitric oxide, which dilates your blood vessels and improves oxygen delivery. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, calming you down. But nobody teaches you this. You go through life breathing incorrectly, and it impacts your sleep, your energy, your focus, your athletic performance, even your facial structure. Your ancestors didn't have sleep apnea. They didn't need CPAP machines. They breathed correctly, and their bodies worked the way they were supposed to. Let's talk about your teeth. Your ancestors had perfect teeth, strong, straight, no cavities, no braces, no wisdom teeth problems. How is that possible without dentists? Because their jaws developed properly. They chewed tough, fibrous foods that required serious jaw strength. This stimulated proper bone growth. Their jaws were wide, their airways were open. Their teeth had plenty of room to grow in straight. But you grew up eating soft, processed foods. Your jaw never developed fully. It's narrow, underdeveloped. Your teeth are crowded. Your wisdom teeth don't have room, so they get impacted and need to be removed. You need braces, retainers. Your airway is compromised, increasing your risk of sleep apnea, all because you didn't chew enough as a child. Dr. Weston Price, a dentist in the early 1900s, traveled the world studying indigenous populations. He found that people eating traditional diets had near-perfect dental health. But as soon as they adopted Western diets, their dental health collapsed. Within one generation, their children had crooked teeth, cavities, and narrow jaws. It wasn't genetics. It was diet. It was environment. Your face is literally shaped by how you eat, how you breathe, and how you use your jaw. And modern life is deforming us. We're creating generation after generation of people with weak jaws, crowded teeth, and compromised airways. And we think it's normal. We think braces are just a part of growing up. But they're not. They're a symptom of a much deeper problem. Now let's talk about your skin. Your ancestors spent all day outside. Their skin was exposed to the sun, the wind, the elements, and their skin was healthy, resilient. It produced vitamin D. It tanned to protect itself. It healed quickly. They didn't have acne. They didn't have eczema. They didn't have psoriasis. But you spend all day indoors. When you do go outside, you slather on sunscreen, blocking your skin's ability to produce vitamin D. You shower every day with harsh soaps that strip your skin's natural oils. You use lotions, creams, and products full of chemicals. And your skin is a mess. Dry, irritated, breaking out, inflamed. Your skin is your largest organ. It's supposed to be a barrier, but it's also supposed to interact with the environment, to produce oils, to host bacteria, to regulate temperature. But you're constantly interfering, constantly disrupting. and your skin suffers. And let's talk about sun exposure. You've been told the sun is dangerous, that it causes cancer, that you need to avoid it or cover yourself in sunscreen. But that's only half the story. Yes, excessive sun exposure can damage your skin, but moderate sun exposure is essential. It's how your body produces vitamin D. It regulates your circadian rhythm. It boosts your mood. It strengthens your immune system. People who get regular sun exposure actually have lower rates of certain cancers, including melanoma, because vitamin D is protective. But you're afraid of the sun, you avoid it. And you're deficient in one of the most important nutrients for your health. Meanwhile, you're using sunscreens full of chemicals that get absorbed into your bloodstream, chemicals that disrupt your hormones, that accumulate in your tissues, that might be causing more harm than the sun ever would. Let's talk about your voice, your posture, your presence. Your ancestors stood tall, they moved with confidence, their voices were strong, clear, resonant, because their bodies were aligned, their diaphragms worked properly, their vocal cords were healthy. But you? You're hunched over a screen. Your head is forward. Your shoulders are rounded. Your chest is collapsed. Your diaphragm can't move properly. Your voice is weak, strained, monotone. You mumble. You speak from your throat instead of your chest. And people don't take you seriously. Your physical presence is a reflection of how you use your body. If you're strong, mobile, and aligned, you move with confidence. People notice. They respect you. But if you're weak, tight, and collapsed, you move like a victim, and people treat you accordingly. This isn't superficial. This is biology. Your posture affects your hormones. Standing tall increases testosterone and decreases cortisol. Slouching does the opposite. Your body language doesn't just communicate to others. It communicates to your own brain. And right now, your body is telling your brain that you're weak, defeated, submissive. Let's talk about temperature regulation. Your ancestors dealt with extreme temperatures, freezing winters, scorching summers, and their bodies adapted. They built metabolic flexibility. Their brown fat, the fat that generates heat, was active. Their mitochondria were efficient. They could stay warm in the cold and cool in the heat. But you live in a 72-degree bubble. Your house is climate controlled. Your car is climate controlled. Your office is climate controlled. You never experience real cold or real heat, and your body has lost the ability to adapt. Cold exposure is one of the most powerful tools for metabolic health. It activates brown fat. It increases mitochondrial density. It boosts your immune system. It improves your mood. It increases norepinephrine, making you more alert and focused. But you avoid the cold. You bundle up. You turn up the heat, and your metabolic flexibility disappears. Heat exposure is equally important. Sauna use triggers heat shock proteins that repair damaged cells. It improves cardiovascular health. It promotes detoxification through sweat. It increases growth hormone. But you avoid the heat. You turn on the air conditioning, and you miss out on all these benefits. Your ancestors didn't have a choice. They had to adapt, and their bodies became incredibly resilient. But you have so much comfort, so much convenience, that your body never has to work, and it's making you weak. Let's talk about something most people never think about: grounding, earthing. Your ancestors walked barefoot. They sat on the ground. They slept on the earth. Their bodies were in constant contact with the planet, and there's emerging science that suggests this matters. The earth has a negative electrical charge. Your body accumulates positive charge from electromagnetic fields, stress, and inflammation. When you make direct contact with the earth, electrons flow from the ground into your body, neutralizing free radicals and reducing inflammation. It's called grounding, or earthing. Studies show that grounding improves sleep, reduces pain, lowers stress, and accelerates healing. It's one of the simplest, most natural interventions you can do. But you're always wearing shoes, always on concrete, always insulated from the earth, and you're missing out on this fundamental connection. Your ancestors didn't need studies to tell them this. They felt it. They knew that being in nature, touching the earth, made them feel better. But you've lost that connection. You've paved over everything. You've insulated yourself, and you wonder why you feel so disconnected. Now let's talk about play. Your ancestors played. They wrestled. They ran. They climbed. They competed. And it wasn't just children. Adults played too. It was how they bonded. How they practiced skills. How they released tension. Play was essential. But you stopped playing when you became an adult. You were told to grow up, to be serious, to focus on work. And you did. Now your life is all responsibility, all obligation, all stress. You don't play. You don't move for joy. You don't laugh until your stomach hurts, and you're miserable. Play is not frivolous. It's necessary. It reduces stress. It improves creativity. It strengthens relationships. It keeps your brain young. Animals play. Children play. And humans are supposed to play throughout their entire lives. But somewhere along the way, you forgot how. Let's talk about something deeply uncomfortable. Death. Your ancestors lived with death. They saw it. They accepted it. They understood that life was finite. And paradoxically, that made them appreciate life more. They didn't take their days for granted. They didn't waste time on things that didn't matter. They lived with urgency, with presence, with gratitude. But you're insulated from death. It happens in hospitals, behind closed doors. You don't see it. You don't talk about it. You pretend it won't happen to you. And this denial makes you complacent. You waste years, decades, doing things you hate, being around people you don't care about, postponing your dreams, because you think you have unlimited time, but you don't. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. The Stoics understood this, not as something morbid, but as something liberating. When you truly internalize that your time is limited, you start making different choices. You stop tolerating bullshit. You start prioritizing what matters. You live with intensity. Your ancestors didn't need to be reminded. They lived with this reality every day. But you need to remember. You need to wake up. Because one day, you'll run out of time. And all the things you were going to do, all the changes you were going to make, all the life you were going to live, it'll be too late. Now, let's address the big question. What do you do? How do you escape this? How do you live the way you were meant to live in a world that's completely backwards? The answer isn't to abandon society and live in the woods, though honestly, that doesn't sound terrible. The answer is to make intentional choices, to align your life as closely as possible with your biology. Start with movement. Move every single day. Walk a lot. Aim for 10,000 steps minimum. Lift heavy things. Your body needs resistance. It needs to be strong. Sprint occasionally. Your cardiovascular system needs intensity. Stretch. Your fascia needs to be mobile. Play. Your brain needs unstructured, joyful movement. Make movement non-negotiable. Fix your sleep. This is the foundation. Go to bed at the same time every night. Wake up at the same time every morning. Get sunlight in your eyes within 30 minutes of waking. It sets your circadian rhythm. Avoid screens for at least an hour before bed. Make your room dark, cold, quiet. Treat sleep like the superpower it is. Eat real food, meat, fish, eggs, vegetables, fruit, nuts, seeds, foods your great-grandmother would recognize. Avoid anything with a long ingredient list. Avoid seed oils. Avoid sugar. Eat when you're hungry. Stop when you're full. Fast occasionally. Give your body a break from constant digestion. Get outside. Every day. Spend time in nature. Feel the sun on your skin. Breathe fresh air. Walk barefoot on grass. Your body needs this. It's not optional. It's essential. Build real connections. Call a friend. Have a face-to-face conversation. Hug someone. Touch is powerful. Join a community, a gym, a club, a team. Humans need humans. Prioritize depth over breadth. A few close relationships are worth more than 1,000 followers. Reduce stress. This doesn't mean avoiding challenges, it means managing your nervous system. Breathe deeply, slowly, practice gratitude, meditate, spend time in silence. Your brain needs rest. Create, build something, write, draw, cook, garden, make music. Your hands are meant to create, not just consume. Find meaning, pursue purpose, contribute to something bigger than yourself. Your soul needs this. And finally, disconnect. Put down your phone, turn off the TV, step away from the screen, reclaim your attention, reclaim your time, reclaim your life. Here's the truth. You can't do all of this perfectly. You live in the modern world. You have responsibilities, bills, jobs, but you can make small changes, incremental improvements, and those changes compound over weeks, months, years, and one day you'll wake up and realize you feel different, stronger, clearer, more alive. Because here's the secret they don't want you to know. Your body is incredibly resilient. It wants to heal. It wants to thrive. It's been waiting for you to give it what it needs. And the moment you do, it responds. Your energy returns. Your mood stabilizes. Your sleep improves. Your strength increases. Your mind sharpens. You start to feel like yourself again, the version of yourself you were always meant to be. This isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about recognizing that you're a biological being living in an artificial world, and you have a choice. You can continue down the path you're on, sick, tired, disconnected, distracted, or you can choose differently. You can reclaim your biology, your health, your humanity. The system doesn't want you to wake up because healthy, focused, connected people are dangerous. They ask questions. They demand better. They don't consume mindlessly. They don't comply blindly. They live intentionally. And that threatens everything. So here's my challenge to you. Take one thing from this, just one, and change it. Today, right now, go for a walk, turn off your phone, eat a real meal, get some sunlight, call a friend, do something that honors the body you were given, the body that's been screaming for help. Because you were never meant to live like this, sick, exhausted, isolated, distracted. You were meant to be strong, vibrant, connected, alive, and it's not too late. It's never too late. Your body is waiting. Your life is waiting. All you have to do is take the first step. Humans were never meant to live like this, but you don't have to anymore.